The overtime tennis interview was supposed to be routine. A few questions about the U.S. Open, her preparation, her goals for the final Grand Slam of the season. But when the interviewer asked about the NBA and WNBA, the conversation took an unexpected turn. Alexandra Eala leaned forward, a smile spreading across her face. She admitted she didn't follow either league closely. But one name immediately came to mind, a name that had become synonymous with revolutionizing women's sports. Let me preface by saying I don't think I know enough about the NBA or WNBA, Eala said. But I would be remiss not to choose Caitlin Clark. She's amazing. I think she's insane. So, hey Caitlin, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you. The room fell silent. The cameras zoomed in. Eala, the young woman who had become the biggest draw in women's tennis, the player who had packed stadiums from Melbourne to Cincinnati, was comparing herself to the biggest star in women's basketball. And the comparison made perfect sense. Because just like Caitlin Clark had revolutionized women's basketball, Alex Eala was transforming tennis, bringing millions of new fans to the sport, packing stadiums wherever she played, and becoming a symbol of hope and inspiration for her nation. The WNBA and WTA were stunned. The tennis world was divided. And Alex Eala had just done what no one expected. She had drawn a parallel between two sports, two superstars, and two movements that were changing the face of women's athletics forever. Welcome to the story of a champion's comparison, a crossover between two sports, and a young woman who proved that greatness recognizes greatness, no matter the court. To understand why Alex Eala's comparison to Caitlin Clark sent shockwaves through the tennis world, you have to understand the phenomenon that both athletes had become. It wasn't just that they were good at their respective sports. It was something far bigger, far more profound. Eala had become a symbol. She had become a source of pride for a nation of over 110 million people. She had become a gathering point for the Filipino diaspora, a way for people scattered across the globe to connect with their heritage, to celebrate their identity, to feel united in a shared purpose. The numbers were staggering. In Washington, tournament chairman Mark Ein had revealed that at least 80% of ticket requests were about one player, Alex Eala. In Toronto, every match she played sold out in advance. The 12,500-seat Sobeys Stadium was packed mostly with Filipino fans cheering loudly for Eala, bringing a typical Filipino barangay basketball league atmosphere to the usually hushed tennis matches. In Cincinnati, ticket prices for Eala's matches surged by nearly 70% overnight. The phenomenon was so intense that it was dubbed Eala Mania. At the Australian Open, long lines of fans had wrapped around walkways outside her matches. In Abu Dhabi, Doha, and Wimbledon, the same scenes played out. Everywhere she went, she packed stadiums and drew massive crowds. Now dubbed as one of the crowd darlings in the tennis world, the 21-year-old Filipina pride enjoyed a rock star treatment with sellout crowd and packed stadiums. The same could be said for Caitlin Clark. The Indiana Fever superstar had arguably become the most popular WNBA star in the world. She had become one of the primary reasons why women's basketball had risen in popularity. Her three-pointers had changed basketball, just as Eala's fearless left-handed play was changing tennis. Eala's choice of Clark as her comparison wasn't about their playing styles. It was about their impact. Both athletes had helped drive interest in their respective women's sports. Both had brought in new fans. Both were young, bold, and proof that the future belonged to those who dared to dream. The comparison is therefore less about their playing styles and more about the impact both athletes have had on their respective women's sports, one observer noted. Clark has helped drive interest in women's basketball, while Eala's rapid rise has generated fresh excitement around tennis in the Philippines. The parallels between Eala and Clark extended far beyond their impact on their respective sports. Both were history makers in their own right. Like Eala in Philippine tennis, where she recorded many firsts, Caitlin Clark was a history maker herself in the WNBA. The 24-year-old guard had been named Rookie of the Year and was a three-time All-Star. She posted the single-game assist record with 19 in 2024, while also becoming the first rookie to record a triple-double. Just days before Eala made her comparison, Clark had also become the fastest player in WNBA history to record 1,700 points for 100 rebounds and 700 assists. Eala, for her part, had become the first Filipino, indeed the first Southeast Asian, to win a WTA Tour singles crown. She had reached the fourth round at Wimbledon, stunning defending champion Iga Swiatek on center court. She had climbed to a career-high world number 18 ranking. She had become the highest-ranked Filipino player in WTA history. Eala sports a WTA 500 Mubadala DC title, while Clark owns a 2025 Commissioner's Cup WNBA mid-season tournament title. But the comparison wasn't just about their achievements. It was about what they represented. Both athletes had become symbols of hope and inspiration for their respective communities. Clark for women's basketball fans around the world, and Eala for the Filipino diaspora. The Philippines, one of the most basketball-crazy nations in the world, had found a new hero in Eala. Her success had reversed trends, creating a transformation that had seen tennis overtake boxing and basketball in popularity. Tennis courts across the country were now filled with eager young players. "I think it's crazy how inspiration can affect other people to what depths," Eala had said. Now, she was drawing inspiration from another young woman who was changing the game. The moment Eala made her comparison, the tennis world took notice. "Let me preface by saying I don't think I know enough about the NBA or WNBA, but I would be remiss not to choose Caitlin Clark," she said. "She's amazing. I think she's insane." "So, hey Caitlin, I'm Alex. Nice to meet you." Her words were playful, humble, and full of admiration, but they also carried a deeper meaning. Eala wasn't just picking a random athlete to compare herself to. She was acknowledging a kindred spirit, someone who understood what it was like to carry the weight of a sport on their shoulders. Clark's impact on women's basketball had been nothing short of revolutionary. She had brought millions of new fans to the WNBA, packed stadiums wherever she played, and become one of the most recognizable athletes in the world. She had also faced her share of critics, people who dismissed her achievements, questioned her impact, and tried to diminish her success. Eala had faced the same challenges. She had been dismissed, condescended to, and underestimated. People had told her that she didn't belong, that a player from the Philippines could never compete with the best in the world. And she had proven them all wrong. "She's amazing. I think she's insane," Eala said of Clark. Those words could just as easily have been said about Eala herself. The comparison sparked a wave of reactions on social media. Some fans were stunned by the boldness of the statement. Others applauded Eala for recognizing the parallels between their journeys. Generational talent. Alex Eala x Caitlin Clark, one Instagram post read. When asked who she compares herself to, Alex Eala chose Caitlin Clark. "Two athletes, two sports, one truth. They are rewriting the game." The post continued. "Clark's three-pointers have changed basketball. Eala's fearless left-handed play is changing tennis. Both are young, both are bold, both are proof that the future belongs to those who dare." Eala's comparison to Clark wasn't just about their individual achievements. It was about the broader impact they were having on their respective sports and beyond. Eala had become the catalyst for what is now widely known as the Alex Eala effect. Her success has reversed trends in Philippine sports, creating a transformation that has seen tennis overtake boxing and basketball in popularity. Eala takes pride in seeing tennis courts across the Philippines fill up with eager young players. The numbers tell the story. In Washington, at least 80% of ticket requests were about Eala. In Toronto, every match she played sold out in advance. In Cincinnati, ticket prices surged by nearly 70% overnight. And now, in New York, the same phenomenon was unfolding. Clark, meanwhile, had done the same for women's basketball. She had brought millions of new fans to the WNBA, packed stadiums wherever she played, and become one of the most recognizable athletes in the world. Eala's choice comes as little surprise given Clark's status in women's basketball. One report noted, "The Fever Guard has become one of the most recognizable players in the WNBA and has played a major role in bringing new attention to the league." Eala has experienced a similar rise in popularity within tennis, particularly in her native Philippines. Her breakthrough performances have attracted a growing following, with Filipino fans turning out in large numbers to support the young star. The comparison was therefore less about their playing styles and more about the impact both athletes have had on their respective women's sports. Eala's comparison to Clark came at a pivotal moment in her career. She was preparing for the U.S. Open, the final Grand Slam of the season, and her biggest test yet. Eala was projected to enter the U.S. Open as the highest-seeded Filipino singles player in a Grand Slam in history. She had secured a wild card into the mixed doubles draw alongside world number 4 Felix Auger-Aliassime, starting August 25th. She was also set to compete in the prestigious Stars of the Open exhibition under the lights of Arthur Ashe Stadium on August 27th, where she would face her close friend, Iva Jovic. In the women's singles tournament, Eala is expected to have a top 20 seed in the main draw. It's the first time she got a direct entry to the U.S. Open. She went through the qualifiers last year and reached the qualifiers. The significance of this achievement cannot be overstated. Just 1 year earlier, Eala had entered the U.S. Open as an unseeded player who had to fight through the draw without the protection of seeding. She had made history by winning her first Grand Slam main draw match, but she was still an unknown quantity on the biggest stage. Now, she was returning to Flushing Meadows as a seeded player, a legitimate threat, a player who had beaten multiple top 10 opponents in a single season. August 2026, New York City, Flushing Meadows, the U.S. Open. The stands are filled with Filipino flags, the same sea of red, white, blue, and yellow that followed Eala from Washington to Toronto to Cincinnati and now to New York. The fans are loud, proud, and unwavering. They have traveled from across the United States, from Canada, from the Philippines itself, to witness history. Eala walks onto the court with the confidence of champion. She has been here before. She knows what it takes to win, and she is ready to make a statement. Her opponent is a dangerous player, but Eala is not intimidated. She has faced tougher opponents, overcome greater odds, and emerged victorious. She has beaten Iga Swiatek at Wimbledon. She has beaten Jessica Pegula in the Washington final. She has beaten Zheng Qinwen, Leylah Fernandez, Alina Svitolina, and Naomi Osaka. From the very first point, Eala takes control. Her serve is dialed in, her ground strokes are precise, and her movement is effortless. The crowd roars with every point, their chants echoing through the stadium. The Filipina sensation is playing like a woman possessed. The victory is sealed. Eala advances, her U.S. Open campaign off to a winning start. The crowd erupts, the flags wave, and the tennis world takes notice. After the match, Eala is asked about her comparison to Caitlin Clark. She smiles, her eyes filled with emotion. "I think it's amazing what she's done for women's basketball," she says. "She's brought so many new fans to the sport. She's inspired so many young girls to dream big. And I hope I can do the same for tennis in the Philippines." She pauses, her voice trembling slightly. "Bigger than myself, and it adds meaning to what I do. Maraming salamat sa mga kababayan natin sa lahat ng ginawa niyo mula sa Washington hanggang Toronto, at sa lahat ng gagawin niyo pa. Para ti kayong sumusuporta at nagdadasal, para ti kayong nagupuy-upuy at kaya tuloy-tuloy lang akong magtatrabaho para sa inyo." The crowd goes absolutely mad. The legacy that will echo through history. Alexandra Eala's comparison to Caitlin Clark was more than just a moment of admiration. It was a recognition of a shared journey, a journey of breaking barriers, defying expectations, and inspiring millions. Both athletes had risen from humble beginnings to become the biggest stars in their respective sports. Both had faced doubters and critics who questioned their abilities. Both had proven that talent, hard work, and determination could overcome any obstacle. Clark's three-pointers have changed basketball. Eala's fearless left-handed play is changing tennis. Both are young, both are bold, both are proof that the future belongs to those who dare. Eala's legacy was no longer confined to the tennis court. She had become a cultural icon, a symbol of hope and inspiration for millions of people around the world. And her comparison to Caitlin Clark was just the latest chapter in a story that was far from over. From the cracked courts of Quezon City, where tennis was a luxury, to the center courts of New York, where she had become the biggest draw in women's tennis, Alexandra Eala had proven that champions don't just win matches. They change the sport forever. And Caitlin Clark, the WNBA superstar who had inspired her, knew exactly what that felt like. Two athletes, two sports, one truth. They are rewriting the game. From the cracked courts of Quezon City to the center courts of New York, where she had become the biggest draw in women's tennis, Alex Eala had proven that champions don't just win matches. They change the sport forever. And when she compared herself to Caitlin Clark, she wasn't just making a bold statement. She was acknowledging a kindred spirit, someone who understood what it was like to carry the weight of a sport on their shoulders. Two athletes, two sports, one truth. They are rewriting the game. And they're just getting started.